into the state Senate and flipped the state House. Governor Youngkin campaigned extremely hard in the run-up to Election Day and on Election Day itself, hoping to get more conservatives in state-level positions and clear a pathway for policy issues like crime, cost of living, and education. But instead, it will now be more difficult for him to push through his policies. Virginia's election is one both parties were watching closely. All 140 of the state's legislative seats were up for grabs, so it was seen as an early indication.
Check it out for extra business. Yeah, internet. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
The row against the American Library Association stems from the promotion of filthy LGBT propaganda, especially in the children's section of libraries, and the election of avowed lesbian and Marxist Emily Drupinski as president. Dan Kleinman is executive director of the World Library Association and tells AFN there are groups dropping out of the ALA. State Library Commission, there are cities that are dropping out of ALA. That's if they win the lawsuit. However, in most instances, they are under the jurisdiction of library boards, which generally do have the right to fire them. Kleinman says the World Library Association has... I'm Charlie Bowles.
Ivanka Trump will be taking the stand today in her father's civil fraud trial in New York.
Attorney General James' $250 million civil case against former President Donald Trump centers on allegations of property undervaluation. We'll see Ivanka take the stand. Her father isn't happy about it, though, yesterday, writing on social media, tomorrow my daughter Ivanka is going to the Lower Manhattan courthouse at the direction of Letitia Peekaboo James, the corrupted, racist New York State Attorney General, who is allowed in violent crime in New York to flourish.
American Family News almost took you.
The LGBT movement isn't new. Since 1968, it's been making its way into the Christian church, and now we're seeing parts of the church starting to affirm the quote-unquote gay Christian lifestyle. How did we get here? In the book Dangerous Affirmation, author M.D. Perkins sheds light on how Christians are being lured from God's truth and calls us to faithfulness to God's design. You can get the ebook version of Dangerous Affirmation today at resources.afa.net. Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the program Today's Issues right here on American Family Radio. I'm Tim Wildman, as the announcer just told you, on this Wednesday, November the 8th, 2023. Thanks for listening to AFR. Joining me in studio today is Ed Battagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Fred Jackson.
Hi, Tim.
And Steve Paisley Jordahl will be along next hour. And we got Abraham Hamilton III. Will be joining us at the bottom of the hour, and we'll have a nice discussion with Abe about various and sundry issues. And I don't know, various and sundry. Do you ever use sundry other than when you say various, Ed?
Yeah. We go to church on Sundry, and
you can order
go to Granny's to eat.
All right, you go to Dairy Queen, you get a sundry.
Yes.
Huh?
So, but not in the way you're talking about, various and sundry. That's one of those expressions that just kind of is in the lexicon.
Yes.
But I have no idea where it came from or what it means. You have a general sense, but
a lot. I think it means a lot of different.
Right.
So Abraham Hamilton, or some different anyway. Abraham Hamilton III will be with us. Well, Election Day was yesterday, and it wasn't even a midterm. It was a midterm of a midterm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by that, it wasn't a presidential election.
Call it off year, don't they?
Yeah, it wasn't a congressional election. So you had just a handful of elections that were really caught the attention of the media, at least. And they included what happened yesterday, Fred?
Well, I suppose the one that got the most attention was the proposed amendment to the Ohio Constitution, which basically would give the pro-abortion side everything that they wanted in the way of free access to abortion, no restrictions whatsoever. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. If you were for no restrictions on abortion, you voted yes. If you were against that, if you're pro-life, you voted no. At the end of the evening last night, the pro-abortion side won, and it really wasn't even close. A lot of money was poured into the Planned Parenthood pro-abortion side in this debate.
And they have a lot of money. Hollywood money, George Soros type money.
All kinds. It was very interesting. I was watching some of the victory speeches last night for the pro-abortion Planned Parenthood side, and they keep referring to, they rarely use the word abortion. They like to use the word reproductive health freedom.
Right.
That's one of the little camouflage phrases that they like to use. But in the analysis, one of the interesting things, and I noted this in looking at the crowd, a lot of young people, male and female, in the crowd. And this morning, somebody was telling me that of the youth, what they call the youth vote, 77% voted for yes. In other words, voted for the pro-abortion side. 77%.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth a discussion because, you know, we have the pro-life march that's in Washington, D.C.
Right.
every January, and upwards 100,000, 200,000 young people show up. But in Ohio, it appears the youth vote really bought into the idea of unfettered access to abortion.
Yeah, I guess what was most... The idea that there shouldn't be any parental involvement for minors, I guess, who want to seek abortion. That was a part of this. Now, I did see a comment from the pro-abortion, that's what we would call it, side, their leadership, saying they would not challenge restrictions that included a parental involvement, parental oversight, parental consent in the abortion question. Okay, but listen, we're going to get. It was disappointing if you're pro-life. There's no question about it. And because they had a heartbeat bill there in Ohio, as there are in several other red states. So to see that overturned, but listen, the other side of this issue, they exploit tiny arguments and make them big things, and they scare people, and they got a lot of money to do it, and they synopsize an issue like abortion did in a 30-second, 60-second ad, where it makes it seems like that the Republicans, or at least the pro-lifers, are wanting to force you to carry through with a term. What am I trying to...
Well,
they want to force... Go ahead.
Yeah, the language is very, very important in these short ads, because there are a lot of people who are not... I'm not saying they're not deep thinkers, but they're not thinking deeply about these kinds of issues. So they are much easier to influence with a short ad that, to your point, characterizes the Republican view on abortion as fill in the blank.